Greg Schwab is a 2010 Dublin Kaufman graduate. Greg was born with Apert syndrome. Apert syndrome occurs in approximately 1 in 200,000 births in the United States. It is a genetic mutation that causes deformities in the skull, face, hands, and feet. During his lifetime, Greg has had over 30 surgeries and medical procedures, 7 of these occurring before his first birthday. The educational and social-emotional issues for children with Apert syndrome can be profound. Greg began public school at age 3 and was a freshman in high school when he and his family moved from Indiana to Dublin. It was here Greg began to find his second family, a team of caring professionals focused on supporting his cognitive, academic, physical, and emotional needs. And it was here Greg found a group of fellow students who gave him the greatest gift, the gift of acceptance. This is Greg's story.
Any young person born with a craniofacial anomaly has trials and tribulations, and when he was young, he was really well accepted by his peers in first and second and third grade, and that was wonderful. And then we segued into middle school, and that was really a challenge, and those were really difficult years for Greg. So to move here and to have a group of young men and a coach and teachers and administrators embrace Greg and accept him for who he was and look past his disability was an amazing thing.
I actually can remember the first time that I met Greg and his family. They had come into Kaufman because they were moving into town. And I just remember being, kind of overwhelmed in a positive way with the supportiveness of his parents and their excitement about being at Kaufman at the same time, doing whatever they could do to make sure that Greg had a great start at Kaufman with our student body and just becoming part of the Kaufman family.
With the move, it was a lot for him to take in. It took him a while to get to know all the kids here at Kaufman, get to know the teachers and where his supports were.
You could tell he was frustrated at times and trying to figure things out. But a lot of freshmen and sophomores are trying to figure themselves out and figure out how to survive in the high school environment. One thing about Kaufman, especially today, it's one of the most amazing places as far as student-friendly, welcoming, but particularly with our students with special needs, they are such a part of this environment. And so by the time he was a senior, he was just a typical kid.
One of the most impactful things that happened is that Dr. Dusty Miller contacted Mark Crabtree, the coach of the football team, and shared that Greg had a very significant interest in football.
I just remember Greg showing up and basically he said, here I am, I'm ready to start helping like right now. That was our indoctrination to Greg Schwab being a football manager in our football program here, and Greg kind of sort of became legendary in some ways. Just his energy and his passion for football and his ability to make friends still to this day. The people that he met in high school are still his good buddies today.
Greg, I think, made a lot of friendships through being the manager on the football team, and a lot of us guys just loved his spirit and energy, and he, lighthearted, and a lot of times high school football is taken so serious, and he was kind of a breath of fresh air in the locker room.
Immediately just picked up on his energy and just how curious he was. A lot of questions, which is pretty standard Greg, but easy to talk to and just kind of was off and running from there.
Spending time with Greg and building that relationship through football is probably a big part of why I went into education and why I went into coaching. So it did have probably a significant impact on my life.
I think I can remember Greg and the friend group that he had and just enjoying the kind of watching them become one as a group. And I think that, again, that goes back to Greg's personality and his ability to mesh right in and become one of the guys, if you will.
He was always willing to be a part of any experience. He worked at a variety of places in the community. When I would approach him about, hey, where do you think you want to work next? He always said, hey, I'd like to try this, or I'd like to try the mall, or I'd like to try the fire station. So he was very open to the different opportunities and experiences that we have here in Dublin.
Graduation day, I think, was just such a special day. It was so good to see the smile on his face, and you could see the pride in him. I think that day was just pretty special, and it was special for me because I think he was part of that change that we had here at Kaufman High School that hasn't gone away, and I can't anticipate it going away.
I'm so proud of him. He's a student at Wright State University. He's studying history. He's close to earning his associate's degree, and that I know would not have happened if it wasn't for all of the staff and friends at Dublin Kaufman High School. Just within the last year and a half, Cody Weaver and his lovely wife Lexi asked Greg to be a part of the wedding party. And that was an amazing opportunity for Greg. It was fabulous, and he really felt that that was a special occasion in his life.
I honestly can't say his name without a smile on my face. He found students who accepted him for who he was, and with that connection, he really became one of Kaufman's most valuable players, really. And so it was neat to see the connections that he had with all of his friends.
We were excited that we had two students be able to meet up with each other. One is a Dublin graduate, a recent Dublin graduate, and the other is one of our first grade students. And they had an opportunity to meet today to talk about our own Dublin City Schools Wonder story. Wonder's a marvelous book about a boy who had some facial deformities and the challenges he underwent throughout his childhood and how he overcame those challenges. This book is very near and dear to our own hearts here at Deer Run because we have a student, a first grader, with Apert syndrome, and so it was an exciting time for him to be able to meet Greg, a recent Dublin graduate, and share that message of empowering others to meet their goals despite their differences.
Hey. How are you? Good.
Who's your favorite Ghostbuster?
Dr. Pittman.
I know I can't change the way I look, but maybe, just maybe, people can change the way they see. If they do, they'll see that I'm a wonder. Look with kindness and you always find wonder.
I don't think that anyone else could understand, because it's a very rare thing to have a child born with a cranial facial anomaly. So as Mark Crabtree and Shane and Cody and Jake, act like it's no big deal, it's profound. So, they really were role models to everyone in the school community. That's an excellent example of the Dublin difference.
Look with kindness and you will always find wonder.